I don't have it.
There we go. We are live.
We are live. I'm going to take your word for
Take
it.
3.
I still don't have any chat on the side,
All right, I'll get the chat.
I'm batting blind here, but that's okay. We'll sort things all out eventually. I don't know what he's doing to me. Again.
Yeah.
And
Don't think we're going to...
Ruben's online. Do you want me to...
All right. Is it... okay. It seems to be okay now. Looks good now. All right. We can see you, Michael. Can you hear us, everybody?
You've used the same title as the last one, have you?
Yeah, I have.
There you go. We've got one watching. Whoop. No, we must have more than that now. People are starting to come on board. All good. Everyone's ticking the box, so... We just dropped out. Oh, dear.
I like that. No more holidays, Ruben.
And he's still got another live stream to go. I think he's got another week off, so... Yeah, don't trip over any cables when you're coming out from the back there, mate. Just leave it as is.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so welcome to Friday Take 2. Sometimes you need a second crack at a Friday. Most weeks I think I need a second crack at a Friday. But that's okay. We're all here, all good, and hopefully most of us have found the new link and are joining us for another, here he is, another crazy Friday. How are you, mate?
I think I'm good. I don't know what's going on here. I'll try and get the comments up right now.
Oh, it's all right. I've got them on my computer. We can run it. You just have to look at me staring at the top of me like you'll have to stare at the top of my head.
I said this last time, but yeah, this is the first sip I'm having today. I've got to do this earlier.
Oh, it's all good fun. So we were talking about platinum, and I'm not sure how much of it came across and how much of it disappeared into the ether. But look, we've seen gold price come off a bit, and I think that's, to summarise what I was saying before, we've seen a lot of the panic come out of the market over the last week or so. Trump seems to be getting things a little bit under control. The Middle East, the Middle East is always a bit of a powder keg, but it just seems to have come down a couple of notches. All these types of things seem to be kind of rolling along nicely. People are taking a deep breath. We're seeing all-time or very close to all-time highs in the stock market. I'm getting a frozen again message, so I don't know if we still are or not.
No, I'm not.
No, we're still going.
So I'm just looking and laughing at some of these comments. They're classic.
Okay. So we're seeing this in the store where people don't seem to be so panicky, and they're actually taking a little bit of profits. We're seeing quite a bit of buybacks in the gold, and people are starting to go, well, what's beyond gold? If I'm not quite so panicky about my funds, do I take some profits out of gold and roll them into something else? And we are seeing that both locally in the store, but we're also seeing that on the world market where we're seeing silver's moved, not a huge amount, but silver's up a little bit. Platinum's up quite a bit. Palladium's had a bit of a move. So we're starting to see those more industrial-focused metals actually starting to get a little bit of love. Now, I think platinum's got a little bit of extra sauce added to it, but we can talk about that in a minute. But overall, if the economy starts to stabilise and people keep spending, we don't enter recessionary territory or anything like that, which, I've said a few times, I think we're already fairly close to that. If not in the middle of recessionary territory, it's just being covered over by some manipulation of numbers. But we're starting to see that, the industry starting to move. There was a report out today about the iron rebar in the docks in China and how the levels are dropping. So construction and industry is starting to move again in China. We're seeing early indications of it through Europe and into America, and certainly in Australia as well. So while that good news for industry starts coming through, it's natural that those industrial type precious metals will start getting more and more love and get their moment in the sun.
I think I spoke to you earlier today and I said, yep, it's in AUD at one stage, platinum has hit 2,200. And I said, I want to lock in a platinum buy. And you're like, yep, I've got all these 1 ounces come through. I'm like, oh, no. I can't do the 1 ounce. I've got to go the gram. The prices are The prices are quite insane.
So you heard it here. Yeah. Alex has just called the top of the platinum market. He's buying some.
In grams though, so that's how high it's gone up for me. But yeah, we've seen a few people. Actually, we've seen a lot more people asking to buy platinum, as well as people taking a profit.
We're seeing a lot more platinum go through the website. We're also seeing a lot more difficulties, and this is what I was mentioning when the sound started playing up before. We're seeing more and more difficulties with supply, like physical supply of platinum. Funnily enough, Perth Mint seems to have heaps. We're not getting any pushback from Perth with the Kangaroos, but particularly some of the overseas suppliers, and that they're actually saying either we won't take your order, or we'll take your order, but it could be 6, 8, 10 weeks, 12 weeks before delivery. So there's that physical demand is there, and the supply is not following it through. There is more and more. I mean, I'm not going to. People have heard me so many times bang on about why I think platinum's a great metal and a great investment. And I've been doing that for probably 2 years now, maybe even a bit longer. We're starting to see this movement. 2200, it's raced here a little bit too quickly for me. I'm starting to become uncomfortable. I'd like to see it consolidate here. And I said the same last week when we were in that 2000 to 2100, 2100 range. I'd really like to see, and I'm talking Australian dollars here, I'd like to see some consolidation there. It's concerning me a little bit. But look, I mean, gold did that. I called gold consolidation 18 months ago, as we were pumping through 3,500 to 4,000. I said, it'll consolidate somewhere in this range. And, here we are at 5,000 plus, and it's still, you probably only argue it started to consolidate in the last month or so. So you're going to see, or we are seeing that demand. And platinum is a special beast. It's had a lot of hangover supply and not much new development in mining supply. There's just been that hangover from about 8 to 10 years ago. That all seems to have come out of the market now, and that real shortage is there. So I would say that overall, despite me saying I want to see platinum pause here for a little while, overall I think we're seeing platinum not running hard. I would say it's just returning back to the normal level. It was really, really low. Like when I started talking about this 2.5 years ago, it was ridiculously cheap, ridiculously low, and there was no way it could stay at that level. And it stayed there longer than I expected. But there was no way. The cost of production was so much higher than what it was selling for that it had to come up. It had to start going up. Then we saw, probably 12 months ago or over the last 12 months where it's just gone from being really ridiculously cheap to just really cheap. And we're now entering the area where I'd say we're starting to move into it's just cheap now. It's not super cheap. It's just cheap. No pun intended on any of those things. But you knew where I was going with it. Yeah. So I think platinum's still got a lot more run in it, a lot more legs to go. But, I don't want to see it race too quickly up to those highs.
Likewise, I do too. And I am a bit surprised at how quickly it's gained momentum. Yeah. But what's surprising me even more is that over the last, I'd say 2 to 3 weeks, we'll be getting more interest in Palladium as well. And more customers. But and I find it really interesting, especially in Australia, because there's 10% GST on it. Yeah. But it is something that we've noticed an uptick in sales of Palladium. So, trying to try and source a little bit more of a variety, but it's certainly been going. And that's what surprised me. But then again, being the seesaw with platinum, and now I remember last time I looked when platinum was more expensive than Palladium, and now it's gaining even more momentum. So it sort of makes sense in that way. But just surprising to see so many come through. But what gets me more than anything is that, people have been asking me, like, what do you do? I'm like, look, I'm a big fan of platinum. They're like, oh, okay, cool, but what about gold and silver? And now a lot of those people are coming back and buying platinum when it's, so high. And it never ceases to surprise me, this thing in human nature where, you don't want to miss out, and you just see it go off at the races, and you just want to have a piece. Yeah. So I think maybe that's why some people are going into the other direction as well, myself included.
Yeah. Spencer Clark's asking there, is gold drop from fear and EFT sell-offs or manipulation to drive fear to sell and manipulation to drop price for the big boys? I don't think you could say it's dropped. I mean, it's come off a bit. It's not, 52. Again, in Australian dollar terms, it's not 52 racing towards 5,300 anymore. It's It's below 5,100. When I last looked, it was kind of that 50 sort of price, 50, 70, somewhere around about there. Look, if somebody was manipulating it downwards, they're not doing a very good job. If you want a decent manipulation, when it goes back down on a downward trajectory through 48, 47, 4,600, then we might start talking, a bit more heat coming out of the market, or, is there possible manipulation, those types of things. But at this level, it's just the natural ebb and flow of the market. I wouldn't be stressed about it at this point.
Yeah, I wouldn't be stressed. I'd be happy to see a drop.
Well, to be honest, to a degree, it's buying the dip.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, or the way I see it, like buying it when it's on sale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm not saying gold is on sale. I think it's still just part of the natural ebb and flow. But, if it starts to take a hammering, that's where you start to go in a little more aggressively, despite the fact that your whole body's screaming at you not to. That's actually where you need to be buying it.
Yeah, Desi might have a point. Before Alex started being a regular on the stream, we never used to talk about Palladium. Now it's a weekly occurrence.
Yeah.
Okay, that's one.
He's a bit of a Palladium bug.
Yeah, a little bit. But not a stacker, just a bit of a bug. And someone was saying as well, I just lost here, but J-May, there are a few more platinum investment search ads on Google now. There will be a platinum rush. So, and I have noticed that as well, but I also wonder about, because when you talk about things and your phone listens in on you with the audio, and then it already sells the information to, so it might be part of that. But I certainly have noticed an uptick in platinum ads, and also more platinum content emerging on YouTube as well.
Yeah, it's interesting. I came out, I don't know, we did a bit of a burst on it probably 9 to 12 months ago. And, I espoused the why I thought platinum was had the potential to have the legs. And I copped quite a bit of flack, both from I don't know how to put this, but from some of the other YouTube channels, like as if sort of thing, platinum's going to run. But all these things, all these investments, I always find eventually have their day in the sun, and they come back when it's logical that, like I said before, when something's screaming that it's a cheap price, fundamentally it doesn't look cheap, and particularly when so-called experts, myself included, if you call me a so-called expert, when they start saying, it's a terrible thing, don't go near it, and everyone's running, that's exactly the time that you should be buying it. Yeah. Exactly the time when everyone's telling you not to. I mean, don't just do it, willy-nilly without kind of doing some research. But I have to say, when everybody says to me, don't invest in, it's usually that thing that I'm investigating that night or that weekend to go, I don't know. Yeah. And go from there.
Speaking of investment, this is one from Soak or Soket. Is oil still a bad investment in your opinion, Michael?
I actually think, we're really off topic now. I actually like the oil story. Just upset every environmentalist that's ever. Well, they probably don't tune into this channel, I suppose.
I'm not a huge fan of oil because of the storage. I'm not an oil stacker, but
you're not. Hey, what are all those drums you've been rolling around with?
Oh, no.
Look, I don't think oil's got as cheap as it's going to yet. Yeah. I think this hiccup in the Middle East has driven it back up. I haven't looked at the exact numbers, probably 20%. I'm looking for oil to be below $50 a barrel. Then I'll start, then I would look at it as an investment sort of thing. Because then again, you're going to find if it does go down below $50 a barrel, you're going to see, every man and their dog saying, it's a terrible investment. Yeah. And go back, do a Google search over the weekend if you're vaguely interested, and go back and look at the mainstream media comments about gold, even 12 months ago, particularly 2 years ago. It was nothing but, how terrible of an investment it is, how you'd be crazy to invest in it, why on earth, it gets no returns, all this sort of stuff. And now when you pick up something like the Fin Review or any of those type of investment magazines, they're cracking on about how good an investment gold is and how it's done the best return over the last 5 years and 10 years and all this sort of stuff. And they're making out like they've always supported gold, where they really haven't. we see the same thing with a lot of these mainstream investments, oil being one of them, where you're going to find the mainstream media crowing about how terrible an investment it is. That's when you should be getting into it. And then 12 months later, they'll be saying, oh, it's this wonderful thing. You watch, in 12 months' time, they'll be saying how bad an investment gold is because, it's stabilised at $5,000 an ounce or something along those sort of lines. And so...
But they don't go back to compare what of course.
Something else has got a 0.5% greater return on it per annum. So they're saying, of course we all should be putting our money into, beaver toenails or something, like something ridiculous that's now returning, 3.5% instead of 3.25. And, it's ridiculous stuff like that.
You into tulips?
Yeah.
Tulip?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing I was saying before. I like being a bit of a contrarian, which is why I look at other things. But being a stacker/collector, it's also what catches my eye. So that's also not the best advice to give out, but certainly fun to stack interesting items.
It looks like I've misstepped where I accused, not directly, but inadvertently accused our audience of not being environmentalists. We have several in there. And I would consider myself a little bit of an environmentalist. But, I apologise if I misstepped on that one. I didn't mean it that way.
You mean as in hazard or?
Oh, dear.
Yeah, I just, where was it? Going back to Plymouth. Try to buy was it burnished Palladium Eagle from the US the other day. No one wants to ship at a reasonable rate. That's what I noticed as well. Like some of these, I've been looking at some of these items, like just bullion, like 1 ounce type collector pieces, even in silver. But some of the pricing, like to get it shipped out now, has gone, to insane levels. I remember used to pay like about $9 US for like a small package up to 250 grams, being shipped, $9 US, being shipped, and now it's well over, like some of them 60, 65.
The shipping's just gotten out of hand now. You should see, it's nothing for us to have $3,000 and $4,000 shipping bills.
Yeah, I don't. You and Adzi look at that. I don't. We've got one here from Stephen Willis. Question regarding storage at BN. Are storage fees charged per invoice or combined into one for all orders? I.e., if you were steadily buying a few silver coins a month, would $60/065% cover all your orders? I don't think Michael or I are in the mental state to answer that.
Look, your storage is calculated. You get it's calculated per invoice, but we're not going to charge you. No, let me walk that back a little bit. If you've got an invoice that has less than 3 months, been in our storage for less than 3 months, you're not going to incur storage fees on it. If that invoice then rolls out to be greater than 3 months, and you've got 2 others that are greater than 3 months, then the 3 invoices will be combined at that point, and then we'll go, well, it's the, I think we charge a minimum of $60 plus GST, so it's $66 per annum for storage. We pro-rata it on, how many months are left in the financial year. And then if you go over that $66, which I think it works out to, that's $10,000 in storage with us, I think it is, then it obviously starts ratcheting up from there. But yeah, if you like, we separate the invoices while an invoice is in the less than 3 month bucket. But as soon as it comes out of that bucket and goes into the long-term storage component of it, then they're all combined together. We don't charge a minimum of $60 per invoice that you've got in there.
Yeah. Another question from Reformed Aussie. Is it possible to get fractional palladium? Yes, it is. We haven't got any at the moment. We've got 1 ounces, but we are looking at getting. We
have ordered some 25 by 1s.
Nice.
So it's like the Valcambi
combi bars.
Thank you, combi bars. Yep. Yeah, so it's like that, but it's palladium. No, it's not. It's platinum. 25 by 1 grams. We've got an order in, although it's taking a month of Sundays. I reckon we've had the order in for 6 months now for 1 gram platinum bars from PAMP.
Platinum, and this was about palladium as well, the question.
Oh, fractional palladium.
Palladium, yeah.
It's not really out there that much.
There's a few available. I know I've been looking at some recently with Adzi. There's Argor Haraeus.
Yeah, there was a 1 grammer or something.
And we're looking at getting something, but it's not confirmed yet. But there are a few options, not as many obviously as platinum, and even platinum, there's not that many fractional options.
Yeah, they're hard metals to work with in fractional senses. even convincing Intrinsic Tender to do that half-ounce platinum minted bar.
Yeah.
It wasn't a huge struggle, but it was certainly a very long conversation getting them to do it. And then Hadsy, bless his cotton socks, I think suggested a 1/10, and the conversation ended right about there.
I know last week after the stream when we showcased the elemental bars, half-ounce bars, and there's actually recalls for both palladium and copper. And as soon as the stream ended, Adzi was at the door and he called the refiner and he actually thought we were joking, but he
said
us,
he said he could do the half-ounce copper if we really wanted.
Yeah, so maybe keep your eye out or bug Michael for some copper. In regards to the earlier question about high shipping costs from overseas, Kaz says, Michael, what is the reason that you never get Middle Eastern bullion, as in Arab bullion? The Royal Mint did a 20-gram bar design with a cover on it, and it sold out and so beautiful.
We would. The problem we have with some of the Middle Eastern gold is it actually goes on the other side. It's not so much on us. They're not keen on dealing with us because the Australian market is such a small market that they're not. It's not that they won't. It's that you've got to really, really, really fight with them to get their product. And I did the last 2 years that I've been at the Berlin World Money Fair. I've had some fairly long conversations with some of the Middle Eastern refineries and manufacturers, and several of them have said, "Look, if we, it's just, and what they're looking for is a shipping container order. They're not looking at, just smaller numbers. And look, it's not that we couldn't place the order with them because we could. The pricing is actually quite good. Our concern is always, how many different variations of a 1 ounce or a 20 gram or a 5 gram do you bring in? We already run Perth Mint, PAMP, Germania. No, not the Germania. That's only the 1 gram now. There's already several brands that we run in a lot of our sizes anyway. Why add another? What's the purpose of it? Sure, somebody might buy a few, but a lot of people will say, look, I'll take one because I want one from a stack sort of thing. But look, I'm happy buying Perth Mints, or I'm happy buying Pamps, or I'm happy buying locals, or whatever it is. So you sell 1 or 2 here and there, and then someone will get hold of them, and go, oh look, I'll take 10 or 15 of them. But literally, they were after very, very large orders. It probably wasn't shipping container size, but it wasn't that far off. I was quite shocked at what their minimum order quantities were.
Wow. I think, speaking to someone about some Middle Eastern bars, and that was in regards to silver, and from the ones I've seen and the ones I have, remember one of the auction bids from years ago when I was a customer still, I won, I think it was from Bahrain. There were 4 bars, Durham bars or something like that. Yeah, and they use a different weight. Basically, they use different weights to what we do. And then we've seen this as well as a possible negative with the beautiful Chinese pandas. When they went from 1 ounce to 30 grams, and you're only looking at 1.1 grams less. Yeah. But so many people, as much as I liked it, I didn't want to get it because it wasn't that standard. Yeah, that standard weight. And again, that's a bit of a worry with some of these Middle Eastern bars that have their own weight. The different one that I can think of that comes on the top of my head is the tail that we sell, but that's been with the Asian market and so many of our customers who are Asian and are familiar with that scale, that's been going well. But with these other odd bits and pieces, I'm not sure how well they would sell. Obviously, people like myself will buy a few, but in terms of the amounts needed to bring in, that might be that's another factor to consider. But
even the tail, we're seeing. Once it punched through 5,000, it held for quite a while, but once it punched through 5,000 for an extended period of time, where we are seeing the demand for the tail start to drop off now as well. Yeah. So where we were buying them, 100 at a time, we're now buying them 50 at a time, sort of thing. Yeah. So it's interesting stuff. There's a comment on there about having 10 kilo coins. So the 10 kilo coins are a dish size, like a decent dinner plate size coin, and quite chunky. Very, very impressive coins. So
And heavy.
yeah, and funnily enough, they weigh about 10 kilos.
10 kilos, yeah. Plus with the capsule.
But what's concerning me is people are saying that there's 3 listed on the website.
And I believe there was only one
yeah,
that we had left.
I'm having a miniature panic here because we do only have one in stock, and I don't know why it's listing 3 at the moment. So I'm actually going to take that offline for now while we sort that out, because the last thing I want to do is go and oversell the stinking thing.
All right. While you're doing that, I've got a question here from Plume. Is BN seeing a difference in what size people are buying since these higher prices in gold and platinum? More fractional? Actually, from my experience in the shop, it's been, in particular in the platinum, I'm expecting to see more of the fractional selling, but it's actually been more of the 1 ounces selling. Whereas before, people actually that's been pretty steady. The main has typically been a 1 ounce size, not as much in the fractional. With gold, man, any and all are just popular. Obviously, the 1 ounce. And yeah, the 1 ounce probably cast bars, I would say, would be the most popular. So it's still that 1 ounce size in both the gold and platinum that I'm seeing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Look, we have seen an uptick in the smaller size, so the 20 grammer. We certainly can't get enough of those in. Whereas I remember 3 or 4 years ago, we'd bring in 50 or 100 20 grammers, and they would last us several months.
I remember, because when I started, and they'd sell here and there, but they wouldn't be moving like they are now.
5s and 10s were always popular.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So the 1s, 5s, and 10s were always popular, and we'd buy the ones we buy by the thousand. We can't get enough of them. Yeah. So 1 grammers I'm talking about here. So the 1 gram, the 5 gram, the 10 gram, always been popular. The 20 gram, not so, and then the 1 ounce kicked off, and the 50 gram and 100 gram both were popular. But the 20 grammer was the least popular of all the sizes. Yeah. Now I would argue it's not the most popular. The 1 ounce has still got that, but it's certainly far more popular than it was.
The other uptick I have seen is in the half ounce gold cast bars. They've been certainly there's been more of a demand, not as much as in the 1 ounce.
Sorry, in the half ounce or the 1 ounce?
Half ounce. Yeah, the half ounce gold cast bar has increased in demand as well.
And I'd actually say the 2 ounce has become more popular.
Okay, I haven't dealt with many 2 ounces in the shop.
Because again, the 2 ounce was the unloved older brother, if you like, bigger brother of the 1 ounce, and people would go 2 ounce, 1 ounce. Nah, look, I'll just get 2 1 ounces. I won't worry about the 2 ounce, because there really wasn't a lot of cost difference between the two. But it seems since gold's gone through 5,000 an ounce, so these are now 10,000. It's the next. It's kind of the closest thing to $10,000. So quite a lot of people are now chasing that 2 ounce size.
I suppose they'll be through because now that the pick's in a different location, don't get to see that coming through from all the website orders. But that's interesting. That's certainly interesting.
We're not doing any end of financial year specials. 1 or 2 people have been asking for it a number of times, and it's purely because of manpower and technical issues. We had a hard enough time getting the live stream actually on this morning or this afternoon. We're not going to do a special on those sort of things. We're trying to get things to calm down, not make them even more exciting.
Nickers fan 1992. When Goldbacks? I'm assuming the.
I had this conversation yesterday with someone. They're just in Australia. I get their popularity in the States, but I'm trying to think of the company that actually makes them. But they've increased the premiums on them, on the wholesale premiums, and they're great to bring in because people like to get one. Wow, I've got a Goldback, and they get a half Goldback or a 1 Goldback. Or I think they come in 2s and 5. Do they come in a 2 as well, or it's just the 5?
In Florida, I think the Florida one has got 2.
Yeah, so they'll get certainly the 1 is incredibly popular, even in Australia. But any of the other sizes, you'll sell 1 here, 1 there. We've still got some 50s from a couple of years ago that we brought in. They've pushed the pricing on them too high. And outside of the US, because don't forget you're paying for GST on them in Australia as well these days. They're not as popular. So I'm not saying we're not going to get them. Ads and I have had this conversation a number of times. they're just in that no man's land where we're just not quite sure that we want to commit to them.
Question here about, can we get 10-ounce platinum bars?
We can get them in.
Yeah.
We absolutely can.
We have had them in numerous times before.
We have. We have them in semi-frequently. I actually really like them. I think they're a bit of a statement. But the market up till this point hasn't liked them.
Yeah.
When we got some, I remember a little while ago, we got, it was about half a dozen, might have even been a couple more, but around about half a dozen 10-ounce bars in platinum, and they were Pamp Swiss. And we sat on those for several months to a point where Ads got pretty cranky with me because I wouldn't, I was pushing against it, but he said eventually, let's get them melted and turned into a 1 ounce size. And he was right, because they sold pretty quickly once we converted them into 1 ounces. But so look, we can get them. We can get 10 ounce, we can get half kilo, we can get kilo bars. It's not a big deal. We don't bring a lot of them in. So either you're going to need to place an order and wait for our next order, or alternatively, if you're buying a couple of them, we can certainly bring them in, especially for you. So,
yeah, I seen in buybacks a little while ago, we had those Credit Suisse. They're the ones in the hard plastic. Yeah. Some of these look absolutely beautiful. Yeah, absolutely beautiful displays.
Yeah. Should catch up with some questions, shouldn't we?
Yep, let's have a look. Okay. Jason, I got a set of Goldbacks from Nevada when we were there last year, only for a souvenir though, and that's the thing that most people here, buying for. Except for that one customer that I remember over a year ago when he walked in and bought an ounce in one Goldbacks. Yeah. And I remember that was when gold was at 3,000, and they paid, I think it was 9,000 for an ounce in Goldbacks. But hey, I know you're shaking. I'm like, wow, respect.
It's a statement. It's absolutely a statement.
Yeah. How about 10-ounce silver from Pamp?
Which one? The 1 ounce silver?
10-ounce silver.
10-ounce silver. Yeah,
silvers.
We can get them in. Again, the problem with... I hope Pamp's not listening to this. The problem I have with Pamps in the silver range is that their premium is quite steep. I would like to bring in their 1 ounce minted silver bars. So there's this year's Snake and that type of thing. But the premium on them is just huge. And by the time we land them here, pay the conversion rate, obviously, and then list them out for sale, we get accused of price gouging. And it's just, gets a little bit out of hand when you're paying. It doesn't sound quite so bad now. Silver's at $50, but I remember silver was like high 30s, possibly very low 40s. And I think the calculation meant we were $79 or $80 per ounce to sell them retail. And that was
after
not
covering everything.
Yeah. And it was, we were making a small profit out of it, but I certainly wouldn't have called it like anything large. We'd be looking at probably similar numbers now. And I just don't think the market would appreciate us lobbing in with an $80 to $90 bullion bar in silver.
Question from Leonard. I want to come in with my nephew to spend his money box. Would you take a big money box full of mostly silver coins as payment?
Absolutely.
Also, if you ask for Brett, I'm sure he would love to.
Probably don't do that.
Okay, don't ask for Brett. Avoid the vest, man.
Yeah. Look, in all honesty, people get a little bit jumpy about that. I got to say, as a business, I love it when people come in. We've got coin counters, so it's not like we can't drop them in the coin counter and count them fairly quickly. But one of the many, many problems that businesses face, all businesses these days, is getting change. Either, we source it off customers when they bring it in, or alternatively, I have to dispatch one of these guys. And look, in all honesty, if I send a guy out for change, it takes a good 45 minutes to an hour by the time they go from here to the bank, join the queue, or use the stupid machine that the bank sometimes works at the bank, and then get themselves back here, sort of thing. You lose a chunk a day, and all they're doing is just getting change. It's not actually any profitable activity. So if you want to come in with a mitt full of 50-cent pieces or dollar coins or $2 coins or any of those sorts of things, we're absolutely not going to... I'm not going to complain about it. One of the guys behind the counter might complain about it, but I wouldn't stress about that, because in the next breath they're going to be whinging that they don't have change if they don't do it. So, look, bring them in.
I love them, especially if you're bringing in coloured $2 coins. I absolutely love going
That's the other problem we have.
Those. Yeah.
Somebody will bring in a bag of coloured $2 coins, and I lose the guys out the back for the next hour while they go through these flaming $2 coins. Oh dear.
Where is it? All right. Any live stream specials today, boys? Not until, and I'm
The
telling
special
you now,
is the fact we're here.
no, that's a super special.
That's right.
Probably just because of just the logistics and everything. Not today, not next week, but after that, we'll see what we can do.
A couple of people have picked up on the fact that we've snuck a few things onto the web over the last week or so. So we snuck in the PAMP range. That's all back on there again in the gold. So 1 gram, 2.5 gram, 5 gram, 10 gram. I think there's 20 gram.
Yeah.
1 ounce, 50 gram, and 100 gram bars. So grab them while you can. The PAMPs are a little bit of a pain in the backside to get in. So we do try and keep them in, but they go fairly quickly, and we sometimes have trouble sourcing more. So we snuck those minted bars back up on the web, and we also snuck the Thor bar.
Yes. That I've been getting many questions today about when they'll be available.
Yeah, so the Thor bar is in stock, both the 10 and the 1 ounce.
I know about the 1 ounce. There should be both.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's both. Excuse my phone.
As far as I know, they've been delivered to our EDC facility. So we should have them here, I believe, from Monday.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Thor bars are in. They're on the website. So for those that don't know, the Thor bar, and it's not a saw bar, it's a Thor bar, is part 2 in the Germania Royal Mint.
Yeah. Collaborations.
Yeah.
Series,
So the first one was
Odin.
Odin, thank you.
Yep.
So the first one was the Odin bar, which was
It's
incredibly...
working, Michael. It's working.
was incredibly well received, and the Thor bar is just as good looking a bar, and I would say they've improved on their packaging as well.
Oh,
so
wow. I'm looking forward, because I haven't seen it in hand,
Yeah.
so I'm looking forward to that. Speaking of very popular, Stamos is asking, is the Sovereign popular in Australia? And we were just talking about that earlier. Yes, it is very popular, even though it does carry the dreaded GST for being 22 carat.
yeah,
But it is very popular in Australia.
yeah. There was what's your worst selling product of all time? We have so many.
Look, any Tetris fans out there that want to help us out?
I thought
I
those
can only think
Tetris
of
would go off like a
Tetris.
frog in a sock.
Oh, look, the coloured ones do go. We also have the just the regular, which is a cheaper without the GST. So it's cheaper, just the standard silver bars, and they look okay. But I have to say, I am a bit of a Tetris fan. I love the coloured ones.
I love the Tetris bars. I think they're fantastic. But you can only buy so many of them.
Yeah, I know. Unless you have your own custom stack. Actually, I shouldn't get any ideas for myself. Or Aquaman, I think. But that's about it.
Aquaman was a flop.
Yeah.
So, yeah, not...
Who would have guessed?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not too much goes on under the water, obviously.
No.
Not-
Okay, before anyone else, on that note, under the water, SpongeBob. Any updates on SpongeBob?
It's been a flop for us.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Right.
Yes, was bitterly disappointed on the SpongeBob, but that's okay. The $200 coin, I would say, is a bit of a flop for us.
That I would argue that, because the $200 coin, it comes and goes like this.
Yeah, that's probably a fair comment.
At first, it was selling quite a bit when I started here. So again, 2 years ago, I started. It was selling like not very well, but steadily. Then it just dropped like to almost no sales for months and months on end, and then it had quite a bit of a resurgence, and then since then it's just basically like a wave, which surprises me. But in that time, the sovereigns have basically taken over. That as soon as we get them in, they seem to go out as well.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of some others that have been... I always got accused of the James Bond being a flop because we had them for so long.
No, but that's because then you get like 3 shipping containers load or something when there was no
it was
other...
the only thing I could buy to back the unallocated and the hedge at the time, because it was during COVID and we needed silver. And I phoned around everywhere to try and find silver, and no one had any physical silver that we could buy except for one supplier who said, I've got a bucket load of James Bonds. And I said, I'll take them. It's that simple.
Yep.
And he said, "Oh, you want them all?" Absolutely, I want every single one that you've got.
Yep.
So we took thousands of the mongrels, and it did take us a few years to clear them, but they served their purpose.
They were
they always sold.
Yeah. And again, keep in mind, we do need to have a physical backlog of silver, or all metals, but to back the unallocated because it's backed a 1-to-1 physical. So that always helps in that regard. Yeah.
Look, we're really lucky. We're not a milk bar or a supermarket or a restaurant or something like that where you get food spoilage or things go out of date or even get damaged. To a large degree, our stock, it doesn't matter if it's old stock. Usually it goes up in value. It doesn't go down in value. Yeah. If it gets dinged, it's still always worth spot price.
Yeah.
Even if it gets really badly mangled, it's still worth spot.
Yeah.
So we're very fortunate in that regard. We do get stale stock, and the Tetris would be one that's a bit stale because, as I said, it's a beautiful bar. It's a lot of fun, but there's only so many Tetris bars you can buy. It's kind of it's a hard one.
Just to finish this off on a note, it was for a while there we had a little bit excess of the Athenian owl.
Yeah, we've still got a few of them. Yeah,
which surprises me because that sold quite well. But then we ordered quite a bit. But that's the surprise for me because it's such a beautiful silver coin. And it pays homage to one of the earlier silver coins, and it's just a beautiful design. Cheap one at that in comparison to some others. So that's the surprise for me that hasn't sold out.
Yeah.
I'll go on here from Roy to me. Copper bars. Yes, I have presented Michael.
That is the coolest thing.
With your gracious gift, so thank you very much. That was a beautiful, an Indian, what was it, a pound?
Half pound.
Yeah. Copper. And what I loved about it was the shape. I don't know, it takes me to the, it's not a 10-ouncer, but just why I love the 10-ounce bars. It just fits in hand perfectly, and that was like a perfect shape. So thank you very much, Roy. I know I will appreciate it, being a big copper fan, but it did put a smile on Michael's face as well. Yeah,
I thought it was great.
Yeah, I was going to surprise him on stream, but if you tuned into the first attempt, so there's no showcasing until Rubes gets back or we get someone else in the in the director's chair. It's
been funny. I've been dodging the question. Naka's just brought it up again. A few people have said, "What was the website crash about this morning?" And it's like, I'll give you the technical answer. I logged on and it didn't. But the technical gurus in the background weave their magic through it, and a little while later it popped up, and we were off to the races again. So I technically talking to the wrong guy. But practically it was down for a few hours, several hours in fact. This is the problem. The website always chooses to go. Probably going to give it the moz here, but it always, kind of falls off the perch just after everyone goes home and knocks up for the night, and so it's the next morning before we can stir everyone up and get them going again. So,
To basically add to that is I speak a number of languages. Binary is not one of them. So I have no idea what happens.
Even C+ or anything along those sort of lines. Yeah.
For me, it's all like the matrix code. It's
Look, back in the day, the good old Commodore 64.
I've still got mine.
I've still got mine. Yeah. I could program quite well.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's beyond my capabilities.
It was funny. Someone was saying, one of my goals is I want to get back. One of my customers this week, old Apple IIe. I'm like, I've got one of those as well with the original green screen.
Yeah, I love the Apple IIe. That was great. Yeah. Jeez, we're really off topic now, aren't we? I've been encouraged in the background from one of our staff to talk about storage fees and some of the ID issues we've got at the moment. So anyone that's got any form of longer term storage, so I'm talking greater than 3 months in storage with us, so you obviously get the first 3 months free. If you've got anything longer than that, June 30th is about to roll around, or July 1, and we charge that per annum charge at that point. The way our current system runs is we charge annually. We've got a new back-end system coming up soon, and we're hoping with that we're going to be able to charge just monthly instead. But at this stage, we charge you a one-off annual fee, and then we pro-rata. So if your 3 months clicks over in September, then you're only paying for the remaining months through to June 30th. We try and get everyone into that June 30th, 1st of July to June 30th cycle with their storage. So obviously 1st of July is rapidly approaching. We're madly doing stock takes and all sorts of crazy things here, trying to get us all compliant with the tax and ready for the tax department. But you are going to see, if you've got things in storage with us for more than 3 months, you are going to get an annual bill come next week. So just be aware of that. If you want to get your stock out of storage, whether it's short-term or long-term, now would be a good time to give us a call, 1300 84 84 10, and organise for it to either be shipped out to you or to come in and pick it up. So you don't get a bit of a strike. I've got a 1 ounce silver kangaroo in there and they're trying to charge me $66 to store it for the next year. Yeah, it's a bit of a shock, but we've got to have a minimum fee in there. So,
and keep in mind that some of these are stored in our Pakenham facility, in a secured storage facility. So just give us a call or an email and let us know that you'll be coming in a certain time to pick it up. And that way, if it is not stored in the city, we're able to send it out and have it here ready for your collection.
Yeah. So, look, if you organise it today or Monday and we kind of know that, you're coming in to pick it up, we might accidentally send you a reminder to pay your storage, but effectively we'll go, look, they're picking it up next week or the week after. She'll be right. We'll sort that out, sort of thing. But yeah, if you are keeping your product in storage with us, you are going to receive your storage fee for the next financial year within a week or so. That leads me to the superannuation fund. So if you've got a superannuation fund stored with us, you're going to get both the storage fee for it very, very soon for the next 12 months, but you're also going to get your annual statement. So we issue that based on spot price. We give a valuation. We send that out to all our superannuation fund stories, whatever they're actually officially called. So if you don't receive it, kind of late July, early August, then flag it with us, let us know. We should have sent them out by then. But also, what else was I going with that? They'll be valued at spot price for June 30th. There was something else, but that was it. If you've got any special requests with that, so your auditor, it says, look, I've got to have a photo of it with this, or I've got to have that, or just communicate that to us, send it through on an email to sales@bullionnow.com.au, so we can either accommodate the special requests if we're able to, or alternatively say, look, we're really sorry, we actually can't accommodate those. We have some that every year they come and say, look, my accountant or whoever wants to come in and inspect them without warning. And it's like, no, we don't do that. We don't have that capability. If your accountant wants to make an appointment and come in and see them, then certainly we can organise that. But no, we can't just have people dropping by and wandering into our storage facility. We quite often get requests for, I want to see where and how they're stored. I'm really sorry, but that's a security issue and we will not be doing that. So if that's your accountant, then you're going to need to organise alternative storage arrangements, because we are not set up for that. That's not what we do. So just to get that one out there. The other thing we needed to cover was ID requirements. We're having not huge issues, but once gold went through $5,000 an ounce, it was always going to be the trigger point for people having discussions about ID and when it's required and when it's not. So it's pretty simple, really. There's a couple of things that are in place there with ID. We require ID at $5,000 in a transaction. So once your transaction size goes above $5,000, we require ID from the person. And if it goes above 10,000, then obviously there are other government requirements that we must do. We also require ID for if your parcel, so we're shipping out a parcel to you, we require ID at that point as well, if it's greater than $5,000, excluding postage. And that's really more from an insurance perspective. So even though you've bought 6 $1,000 invoices over the last 12 months, you haven't actually triggered any requirement for ID. Because your parcel that we're shipping out to you now is valued at $6,000, we might say, look, we actually need a copy of your ID. And that's purely so we can ensure that we're sending it to the right person, to the correct address. So when our insurance company comes back at us and says, hang on a sec, did you check this person out properly that you're claiming, your missing parcel for, then we've actually got, yes, look, these are the details. This is what we've got. This is how we confirmed it, and all those sorts of things. So it's actually for your insurance that we're requesting that sort of stuff. It's not that we're trying to be a pain in the backside with it. There are some more requirements as well if you're buying under a super fund. So we do require a copy of the trust deed and the ID of all the, they're not directors in a super fund, they are trustees. We require the ID of all the trustees. And if you're buying under a company name, then we require the company extract from ASIC and also the directors' IDs on those ones. So just a bit of a burst on IDs. I know it's always popular and we'll probably get several hundred pages of frustrated hate mail over the things I've just said, but unfortunately I don't set the laws, I just have to comply with them or I get smacked by the government.
Reformed Aussie. Koje zlatne poluge su popularne u Srbiji?
I was thinking the same thing only the other day.
All right, respect for writing in Serbian Cyrillic. He's asking what gold coins are popular in Serbia, and I'm not actually sure. I know they're going more towards now with the investment quality bars, gold bars. But I know what I received as well, and it's been quite popular all throughout the Balkans, are the ducats. So they're the Austro-Hungarian little wafer thin coins, which I absolutely love. But I don't love the GST on it, unfortunately.
Whenever we want to wind Alex up, Ads and I talking about, we're going to melt that rubbish European stuff.
I'm already getting high blood pressure just with that joke.
That non-pure stuff, we'll just melt it, get it out the way. You can see Alex boiling in the corner.
Just buying ups and saving all these old historical coins, even though those are particular ones are restrikes, but yeah, all those old European circulated gold coins.
Braden, may your daughter have many, many, many teeth. And yes, we have some 1/10 silver. We actually have it in stock. Funnily enough, just before live stream, I was actually trying to find time to make sure it was listed. We've got some 1/10 XAGs, so with the ram on the back, they're really cool. And we've got some 1/10, they're not Britannias.
Hang on, we're talking silver.
We're talking silver, 1/10. There's a whole pile. There's 2 boxes of them out the back.
I just sold a whole bunch. Hang on.
We just took delivery of 5,000 of the 1/10 XAG Rams. Mm-hmm. And there's another Aztecs. 1/10 Aztecs. There's 1/10 Aztec calendars out the back, which they look really, really cool. My only issue with them is the design's too small because of the planchet size. But yeah, so we've got plenty of those, and they should be back on the web. If I don't get a chance today, then it'll be early next week. They'll be back on the web.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the fractional and the 1/10s, especially in the silver. I love them, and I love those. What is it? The Guinea? The Guinea spades?
Yes, yeah, the Guinea spades. Yeah. If anyone wants a special on the Tetris bars, we probably should do that. Ads, if you're listening, mate. We'll get that organised sometime in the new financial year.
I think Az has got his hands full today.
Yeah. It's salami day, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a joke now. I'm not going to... Yeah, but I hope to see... we'll see him back next week.
Yeah.
With hopefully some smoked goods.
People have been asking about Pakenham and Melbourne. The refit of Melbourne is still going strong and will be for probably, I'm estimating, about another 3 weeks before that's all buttoned up. Well, it's still, before it's buttoned up enough that we'll walk away from the redesign of the shop and we'll start doing some other things with the builder. So, about 3 weeks, give or take. That should be pretty much done and dusted. As far as Pakenham goes, look, Pakenham's actually finished. We're having... June 30th is not helping me here. It's not working in my favour. For those that are international, June 30th is the end of our financial year, so we've got to do stock takes and all sorts of things. And we're also introducing, like I said, a new back-end system, a new ERP system, so that's also getting in the way. We have employed some new people that we're training up. So Pakenham will be coming along shortly. It's pretty much ready to go. So what we've done, and I know the guys on the phones are not going to appreciate this, but what we've actually been doing is a little bit of by appointment only. So if you're down in the Pakenham area and you want to make an appointment to come in and do a transaction, we're okay, as long as we don't get flooded with requests, we're okay for you to give us a call, 1300 84 84 10, and set up an appointment to come in and do your transaction in Pakenham at the moment. So bit of a soft launch almost.
Yeah, and Raymond's saying, will the city and Packy have display cabinets to view different coins, bars, etc.? Yes, that is coming. I'm really looking forward to that. I actually spoke with Michael earlier about getting some display stuff ready for Packy.
He's smuggling all the good buybacks that come in. He smuggles them out.
Not all, but yeah, I have to. Look, I have to. Otherwise, if the shop boys see it, it's all over. So hoping to get some cool stuff. And for both places, there will be display initially, and then as we cycle them through, might let them go, but we'll see.
I know I'm going through some old posts at the moment because I'm just trying to catch up. But the Elton John coin wasn't unpopular.
Which one?
The Elton John.
Yeah. No, that went quick. Well, but I don't think...
We actually got a few lots in was the problem.
Yeah.
So we got a stack in and they cleared. So we got a few more in and they took a little while to clear.
And that was during the lockdown period as well, when you were just trying to source whatever silver you could get.
Yeah. So they were a bit entertaining. So the Germania Mint, I'm not even going to pretend to pronounce that, but it's a Tree of Life one. That should be on its way. Those orders have been placed. The numismatic coins tend to go through Little Coin Shop, which is our sister company on there. What else have we got on here? What am I missing?
So I'm just answering some questions within the chat. Have you been, Desi? Have you been sending any buybacks to the Packy store? Not yet. I've been getting buybacks ready to send to the Packy store.
Yeah.
Oh, and Desi, if you could only see them. Wow. Sorry, a bit of a tease.
The 1 kilo coins, people are asking about those. So for those that don't know, we've had trouble getting the 1 kilo silver bar out of Perth Mint consistently for the last several months. So in a fit of stupidity, I announced that we were going to do the 2023 Koala and the 2024 Dragon in the kilo coins from the Perth Mint at Perth Mint bar prices, which is, I don't know, quite a bit less than what they should be charged. It's pretty much almost our wholesale cost on them. So I stupidly announced that we were going to do that until we could consistently get the Perth Mint kilo bars back in stock. And believe it or not, just this week, I was thinking, actually, we're starting to get them through again. Supply's okay. We're able to place orders. And either I said to ads or I was about to say to ads the next day, right, I think we can pull that special off now because we're getting them. And they went back into, we're not taking any back orders anymore. I'm like, oh, really?
Yep.
So they are still available at that ridiculous price that I'm regretting doing, but they're still available. So if you want them, grab them earlier rather than later because fairly soon, and I've been saying this a couple of times now, fairly soon they will come off that special.
There's something else, those 1 kilo coins.
They're a statement.
Yeah.
They really are.
I mean, not as much as a 10 kilo coin. I haven't got one myself yet, but that's you'll need you'll need a good back brace as well if you lift one of those.
Yeah. Oh, we've got
especially if you're carrying like 10 at a time. What we were doing, that was insane.
We're getting suggestions for little holes in the 10 kilo coins so they can be bench pressed.
Thank God! I thought you were going to wear them like Mr. T, like right. A silverback Mr. T. Yeah,
the bikey chain with the big.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? I'd love to see that though. So if anyone out there's got a 10 kilo coin, not exercise advice. Question:
the 10 kilo snake comes out next month.
Okay. Oh, that's going to be an absolute stunner.
Oh, I love the 10 kilo coin.
I've said it already, and that's right. Like the silver snake is my favorite. I think it's my all-time lunar Perth or any lunar snake design. That silver one is just growing on me incredibly.
Yeah,
and that in a 10 kilo. Wow, I've got to really up the ante with those Powerball and Tats Lotto tickets because I'd love to get one of those.
Yeah, so they are we've got our allocation given to us, so I'm actually happy. We're not allowed to take pre-orders. Perth Mint don't like us doing that, but certainly you can express interest in them if you wish, and go onto the list to pick one up if you would like. So send us an email, sales at Little Coin Shop. Oh, good grief. Sales at bullionnow.com.au. Just send through, say, look, this is me. I'd really like to go on the EOI for the 10 kilo snake. Bear in mind, they aren't the cheapest way to buy 10 kilos of silver. It is still cheaper. Coins are always dearer than bars, so it's always going to be cheaper to buy 10 by 1 kilo Perth Mint silver bars than it is their coins.
Not currently at Bullion Now.
Well, that's slight supply hiccup there, but
rule,
but also it is going to be cheaper to buy 10 1 kilo coins than it is to buy one 10 kilo coin. And it's a bit of a glitch in the system where we normally say the bigger you go, the cheaper it becomes. This is the one time it doesn't, because they are very limited production. They only produce 100 of them as a worldwide mintage. They are basically handcrafted. Yes, there's absolutely some machinery involved, but they are effectively, each one is individually created, and they dedicate so much real estate and so much effort to produce these 100 by 10 kilo coins. I'm actually, once you've been out the back of Perth Mint and had the tour and been shown, look, this is how we do it, and they've been preparing this snake for probably 6, 8, 9 months at least. Wow. You actually, I usually come out of there going, wow, these things are a screaming bargain. Wow. When you look at the skill level and the manpower that actually goes into them. So, if it's in your wheelhouse, absolutely send us an expression of interest, and we'll, when we can release them, you'll be the first to be offered them.
Wow.
We are getting close to stumps.
Yes, we are. Middle Inquisitor, will the UFO be displayed?
Yes.
If yes, which store?
I don't know. We might do both stores.
Okay. Oh, yes.
Yeah, it can holiday.
Okay, yep. I know
we'll
what
put the
you mean
UFA in one store, and we'll put the base in the other store, and then we'll change them over.
Backyard Bear, 10 kilo silver coin redefines flex. Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
One day we're going to have to take it down the street and try and spend it.
Yeah. Oh, that'll be great. From a question from Bob. Hi guys, can you explain the process for us selling back to 100-ounce silver bars and purchasing monster boxes of 1-ounce silver kangaroo, e.g. one transaction or two transactions?
Two transactions.
Two, yeah.
So you would come in, you'd say, here's my silver bar, ka-thunk, onto the bench, and we would buy it off you. The 1,000-ounce bar usually doesn't get spot. It's one of the few that we don't give spot on. Usually it's that 97, 98, 99%, somewhere in there. We will then...
100 ounce.
100 ounce. Sorry, I read it as 1,000 ounce.
Full, no, because there's a question before and after, or a statement, some comments about 1,000. So Bob's asking about 100 ounce. If it's 100 ounce, you'll get full spot.
Yeah, you get spot on 100 ounce. So you just bring it in. We buy back the 100 ounce at spot. You say, well, actually, I don't want to take the cash. I'd actually like to convert that into kangaroos or kookaburras or something like that, and then we do a sale based on that.
Yep.
So you will lose a little bit in the changeover in the premium, but it won't be a great deal.
This is the time that you wish that you had 10 kilos in unallocated from 2 years ago.
Absolutely.
Yes, but no. Premium on that though.
It's still going to be cheaper because premium is above spot.
Especially if you had it from 2 years ago. Yeah.
All right, we need to round this up.
We'll take limited questions here because we're both reading off the mini screen, and they're going to still do a commander crawl under Rube's desk to get to end the stream.
Yes, it's going to be a funny shutdown, isn't it?
Not for me, Michael. Maybe for you.
So those that haven't experienced it before, the last couple of minutes or so, we do rapid fire questions. We try and squeeze in as many questions as we can. We try and answer them in less than one sentence. It very rarely works.
I try to.
Usually we get sidetracked, believe it or not. But we'll absolutely give it a fair crack this time. So If you've asked a question before and we haven't picked up on it, I apologise, but now's the time to repeat it and chuck it in there. If you've got a question that you'd like to ask that you've been hanging out to ask and haven't put it up there, now's the time to throw it in there. And we'll basically give as close to yes/no answers as we can, and we'll just bang through them as quickly as we possibly can.
All right, and we'll start now. Money Mum, any word on new Wonka Gold Bar?
Not yet.
Not yet, okay. Any more news from Perth Mint doing the Lunar Horse Tour this year? Is it happening?
It is happening. We don't have confirmed dates yet. I'm just waiting on that before we then start publishing.
Okay. How often do you get a 10 kilo sold back? I'm guessing the coin, and that sounds like a great auction idea for future lots.
Very rarely.
Yeah.
I think we've had sellbacks 2 or 3 occasions, and then we secured a bunch of, that was about 6 months ago, we secured a bunch of 10 kilo bars from an overseas supplier. 10 kilo coins.
Yeah, that's 6. Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, Stephen Bayer. Silver comes in monster boxes. Does gold coins also do gold coins also come in monster boxes?
No, they have their own boxes. They don't call them monster boxes.
Water Monkey. I noted BN may or may not get the new Wonka bar, but do we know who is releasing the Wonka bar? I can't find any info.
It's a PAMP off the top of my head.
Okay. Just curious, how long does it take to get to Pakenham from BN City Store?
Depending on traffic, about 40 minutes.
Don't go during peak hour. That's my advice to you. Metal Inquisitor, you know what the 2 kilo super infused design will be?
Yes.
No. Okay, hang on. It's again skipped up.
So up to Michael, will platinum reach parity with gold again? I actually believe it'll exceed the price of gold, but it's going to be a little while before it does it because traditionally that's where it sits, is above gold. Runes, we have some of the runes. We're getting some more in fairly soon.
With those green ones, the Series 2. Okay, yeah. Jared, favourite plane, Michael? No. Okay, no more plane questions for Michael at the end of the stream. We'll get him.
It depends which era and genre we're talking about.
X-Wing, yeah?
Yeah, that's well, yeah, I don't mind the old X-Wing.
Yeah. Okay, Michael. Oh, Michael, what is your star sign? Favourite colour and favourite food?
Haven't the foggiest. I like all food, as you can tell by my shape, except seafood.
10-ounce silver buyback. 10-ounce silver bar buybacks next week.
We've got some in stock at the moment in the store. I don't know if they'll hit the web.
10 ounces have been flying out in the silver in both minted and cast in buybacks. So
buybacks aren't the sort of thing that we can plan ahead with. They're there when they're there and they're not when they're not. And it's pretty much that simple.
Well, I like this one from Leo. What's the customer ratio for purists to collectors?
They're all purists and they're all collectors.
Yes. Except for ones like myself who are sometimes 22 carat and below.
Yeah, but we're all... we all go through phase. Even the guys that say, and we've said this before, I only want best bang for the buck. I only want, a lump of silver or a lump of gold. And, I like that coin.
All right, Chris. I got my 1 kilo times 10 coins last month. Love it, but they are only the dragons and koala.
You can buy other ones. We've got the snake and a few others, the kookaburra, the 2025 cook, but they're dearer. Yeah. They're the only two that we're doing at that U-Butte price.
Rumpelstiltskin, I can't believe I pronounced that. Is the Pakenham store a quick walk from the train station?
It's a longish walk from the train station, and you've got to cross the freeway. They've now got pedestrian bridges across the freeway, but you've still got to cross the freeway. It's a little bit of a hike. Electric scooter. I've seen a few people electric scootering it between the train stations.
This is the last plain question I'll have for Michael. Greg C., how many pilot hours has Michael completed this financial year? Is there cobwebs on the plane?
Yes, there is cobwebs still on the plane, and I'd be surprised if I've done a dozen hours in the last year.
All right, I'm echoing John Gold. No questions about aeroplanes, please. Thank you. All right, Doug Stacks. When are Perth Mint Grumbles? I'm guessing Brumbies and Wombats coming out.
Don't know about the Brumbies. Wombats. Is it next month or the month after? I think it's about August.
The end of August? I think August because...
It's the start of August.
July
because,
or August.
Yeah, it's somewhere around about there because
before
otherwise they bang
series,
into the
Luna.
Luna.
Yep. Yeah, okay. Okay, answering those. Where is a good place to get a good, cheap safe? Surely there's got to be a place called Safes or Us.
Well, actually, I've been approached about BN selling safes. So we might even have a better answer to that. But at the moment, not a general hardware. Safes aren't that expensive. A good safe is not that expensive. And even second-hand safes are perfectly fine. Don't stress about getting a second-hand safe. You get a good brand, CMI, Chubb, one of those. Get one of their good safes. Buy it second-hand. Even if it's 100 years old, they're still made. In fact, one of our vaults in one of our previous places was 100 and something years old, and it was. There was no way you were getting into the thing.
This is a rapid fire, right?
Oh, sorry. I went off on a tangent.
Sorry, I said that on behalf of Ruth, and I was going, Michael! I was just screaming overseas.
Yep. All right, move on.
All right, Colombo, can we get any 999.99 gold? Everyone should have at least one 999.99.
5.9's gold. I'd have to poke around. You can't get it too many places these days.
Neaton, is platinum still good investment after recent up?
Long term, this is not financial advice. Long term, I would say yes. Shorter term, you may see it taper a little bit.
I would echo that. Jim Wim, any news on new mother and baby Perth Mint coins? The next generation, I believe.
Not a question I'm prepared to answer at this point.
Oh, sorry, Michael, what happened? Remember that TV show, Next Generation? What did they do with that one?
Leave it there.
All right, leave it there.
Yes.
Yes, okay. Would be
the happy birthday, the Germania 1 gram happy birthday. I think it's a great little bar, and it's not that expensive.
Spencer Clark, do an Aussie version of the Wonka bar.
No.
All right, no.
Really? You had to read that one.
I didn't read. VM, are you getting more Germania Mint gold multi-bar 100
we are.
grams?
Both in the gold and the silver, actually.
All right, Sparked. Are we getting the 2025 1 ounce Bavarian State Mint Bullion Thaler silver round? I haven't seen that one.
I don't know is the short answer on that one.
All right.
Don't mind the turbo props.
All right. Knackers, all right. Is Brett staying at BN City after Pakenham opens? Yes.
Yeah. He doesn't like change. He's a little bit like me.
Yeah. Raymond, Nick, the 1 ounce silver rounds a better option premium wise over the 2 ounce rounds?
Sometimes, yes.
Desi, Michael, do you believe that the man jumped out of the blowing and so? All right, no more. No, Michael's not answering.
I'm not allowed to answer those questions. Apparently,
no more. All right, Keitho, what's your coin of the year so far?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have one yet.
I'm not sure. Actually, ask again next week. I'll have a think about it. Where are we?
We've already answered Money Mum. Yes, we're keeping the 1 gram birthday bars.
All right. There's a thanks from Demeter Cooks to Andrew. I'll pass that on later to Andrew. Snow trip this year, Michael.
Certainly hoping so.
Brought to after beers. Okay. I'll jump in any time you see something from here, Michael. But
Peter Vick, hey Michael, getting difficult working out my unallocated records. Anything happening in the area of way to show current allocations? Yes, we're working on it. It's not there yet. Update on the Tudor Greyhound. It's still at customs, I believe. Would it be cheaper to fly return or drive? It's usually cheaper to fly. What countries' bullion would you like to get in, but said countries won't export? We don't have any countries that won't export to us. Like I said, it's more an issue of minimum order quantities.
I know one from Zimbabwe.
Oh well, yeah, that's
that's the only one that are not. But they don't. Yeah, they're a bit
New releases coming out next week. Absolutely, there is. The July release will be, I believe, Tuesday. It's either Monday or Tuesday. No, it wouldn't be. It'd be the week after, I think. So it's either coming out Tuesday or the following Tuesday. I can't remember which it is.
J-Mac, would it be cheaper to fly return from Gold Coast or drive? Probably cheaper. Hitchhiking, not travel advice. Stephen, Dirty Man Safes. Michael.
Yeah.
No. Spencer Clark, get a gun.
It doesn't matter so much about the brand. It's what it's rated to.
Yeah. Okay, we read a few of these. Sorry, guys, because this also keeps jumping up and down. So I'm going to try and get back.
Should I trade my gold for platinum? Look, I'm always a bit cagey on that because when you're talking physical, you lose the premium or you lose a chunk of the premium when you do that. So I hesitate to do it. Having said that, lots of people have done it and made good money out of it. What's the next week's release? I actually can't tell you off the top of my head. Employee of the month, Sean and Sylvia. There you go.
Pass it on.
Any plans to open a store in another state soon? I had conversations with that this morning.
I'll I'll read this one out from GNA only because it might divert questions to that stream. When is the Aviation Now live stream?
I don't think the world's ready for that yet.
Oh, no.
We are open this Saturday. It is next Saturday. We won't be open. So we are open the 28th.
Yep.
But the 5th, I think it is, the 4th, whatever the Saturday is following, we're not open that Saturday.
And that's confirmed now? So
that's as confirmed as I can get it until after Monday.
All right, done.
The back of the safe sale. Any back of the safe sales, there probably will be next month. And I think we're pretty much done there.
Stephen Wheeler's Customs would have a field day with high-value shipment from Zimbabwe. Yeah, which customs? Yeah, probably more the Zimbabwean ones.
There you go. Sean's been an awesome help, and I think that's it. We need to draw a line under it. So thank you very, very much for putting up with our IT incompetency.
Yes.
As Alex and I struggle along.
Course. Thank you for Ruben for jumping on Telegram and contacted me just to go through some troubleshooting. And thank you all for joining in for the second time today. Sorry for anyone that we've missed. Yeah, it's been a bit difficult because normally we have the questions up on the big TV screen in front of us, and this we're jumping a bit. So if we've missed any questions and you'd like to ask, please feel free to do so next week. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Glenn, for doing the run.
Glenn did the coffee run. Thank you. Well, hot chocolate run in my case.
Yeah,
but
that helped tremendously.
Incredibly appreciated. I think we'd both be asleep on the bench by now.
Yes. And thank you to so many people this week that have come in and while I was in store and just saying hi and from watching the stream so it's always appreciated. So thank you.
And also people who've come into the store and said, rather than, oh, man, what a disaster zone, gone, wow, it looks great, it looks like you're getting somewhere. I tell you what, after this week, I really appreciate those little words of encouragement because it's been tough.
And Water Monkey, you're most welcome. Thank you, and have a great weekend. And I'm going to do my commander crawl while Michael has the last few words.
So again, thank you very, very, very much for joining us. We will be back next week with more fun and games. The shop will be more finished, more betterer next week. And we will be back at 2:30-ish, sometime around there, depending on our technical capabilities. 2:30 next Friday for the same live stream yet again. Stay safe, stay tuned, and have a great time. And we will see you very soon. See ya.
See ya.